Hello everyone, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. So if you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragons, and today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir, Leigh's Path. So, the last place we left off, it was in the library, the gigantic Gothic cathedral library, apparently. And, an Elden Ring castle library. And we're just getting to know the gang and everything. You guys know how it goes. Hopefully we'll get some more unique dialogue this time. I know that Leigh's path actually extends longer than Oscar's for now, so very interested in seeing what goes on with him in that hospital. But anyway, guys, sit back and enjoy. Let me entertain you for the next 20 minutes, and let's jump right into it. Alright. Alarm chainer up. Alright, let's go. I take back what I said about barely being able to see his blush before. Now it looks like it's changing the fur color around his muzzle. It's so intense. His ears look like they've been painted red on the inside. A heavy mood weighs down on our group. It's hard to know where to even go after that. Maybe we should discuss the project? Everyone turns to him like he's insane. He doesn't falter for a second. How about we do the thing we're supposed to work on? It's been an hour and we've done nothing. Right, sorry. Things just got a bit out of hand. She sits up straighter and her hands are constantly moving as she talks. I don't think her gestures don't mean anything in particular. She's just very excitable from what I've gathered. It doesn't hurt to be enthusiastic, in fact. I think her enthusiasm is exactly what we need. So, what exactly is this group project on? You said some of us know. Did only some of us get the memo, or...? It's on the online guide to the class. Barely anyone checks it, though, so he's just going to go over it tomorrow, probably. I didn't get any kind of email about that. It's not emailed. There's a student database you can log into, which has a bunch of information for your classes on it, as well as your schedule and grades. Oh, that. I didn't know it had information for the classes themselves. Don't worry, most of us are freshmen here, so it's not expected that we'll know much about it. Heh, I'm a senior. Oscar sounds smug and leans back in his chair, swinging backwards on it. In fact, he's swinging back way too far. I'm about to stop him when I see he's supporting himself with his tail. I knew otter tails were strong, but I didn't think they were this strong. And you're taking a basic first-year class? Isn't that kind of sad? Yeah, I never did all my general classes, and this one seemed pretty fun. I thought we were gonna just be watching movies and shit, though. We're not in high school anymore. So, the subject for the project? Leigh sounds like he's getting actually annoyed at this point. It's not super obvious, but there's a frustrated sigh under his breath. Yesterday, no matter how awkward I was, he never got frustrated with me, and his sighs never held any exasperation. He's a lot more patient than you'd think by looking at him. I've only known him for less than a day, but despite how distant he initially comes off, he's sort of an open book once you talk to him. Right, so since this class is about communication of information through media, we're doing a group project on presenting information about sensitive topics. He wants us to pick a tragic event from last year and do a tasteful presentation of what happened, the effects the media had on the event and its perception by the public, and lastly, how the media could have handled it better. Sounds tedious. Also, should university students really be judging whether or not the media could have handled a situation better? We're not exactly experienced. Even professionals can completely fail at their jobs sometimes. Now, that's a little mean, ain't it? Everyone makes mistakes. No need to blow up at them, right? Right, sorry, that came out a little harsher than I intended. Everything seems to make sense so far, though there's one thing I am curious about. So, why only from last year? It mentioned that anything older than that is no longer considered sensitive. What about this year? Well, he said it would fit, but it might be a bit tasteless doing it that close to the event. He'd rather restrict it to having at least some amount of time passed. Should have just let us do our presentation on older events. Surely he can't expect a class filled with mostly late teenagers to be tactful. I'm assuming that's what the Wednesday classes are for, so he can help us out. I guess. Looking over at the fox, he seems rather fidgety. Really fidgety. It's not like yesterday where he looked really upset. He looks really, really nervous. Everything okay? Huh? Oh, yeah, sorry. I haven't done a group project or presentation for a long time. How long? I love doing group stuff. Presenting, not so much. Don't get me wrong, I love the attention. Just not the talking about school stuff part. The group stuff itself is real fun. Get to hang out with all the bros. And gals, too. He gives Leigh a nod. It's almost sickeningly cheesy, but she seems to enjoy it. She has this bright smile on her face and giggles a bit, too. In a group of boys, and it takes this long for me to get some attention. Looks like college guys really are more mature. How long is a long time? It normally happens right when they, No, I'm meaning for Lucas's group presentations. Oh. For a second, I worry I might have made her upset, but when I look at her, she's got a bit of a smile on her face as she's silently giggling. I glance over at Lucas, and he's squirming in his seat uncomfortably, trying to avoid looking at any of us. 6, if we don't count this year. Wait, you haven't done one since middle school? Yeah. How? I got homeschooled for most of high school. What about the rest of college? You don't exactly seem like a freshman. I just avoided classes which had them. But not this one? Leigh's deep voice startles me. He's much too quiet for a guy of his presence. Then again, he didn't seem to mind chatting when we were alone. Must just not be the kind of guy who talks over others. He's got a rather curious look on his face, and it's only now I notice he's got a book in front of him, open and jotting down the information for the presentation so far. The only other person with anything is Oscar, and he hasn't touched them since I arrived. No one else has anything with them, not even Lily, who organized it. He's very dedicated. I can't help but wonder if he and Lucas switched personalities at birth. This was more of a last-minute decision. I just wanted a gen ed class that'll increase my GPA. I didn't think a media communications class would have a presentation or required attendance. None of my other classes have had required attendance. Yeah, classes with group projects kind of have to, or else it screws everyone else over, you know? Lucas deflates and flops down onto the table at that, his chin resting on his arms. At least he's calmed down. He's a lot more talkative than I expected. I mean, he was always standoffish, but he gives me the vibe that he wouldn't talk much in a group. Then again, he is only complaining, and he's doing that from the start. And we're pressuring him. In actuality, I'm just surprised at how expressive he is. So, what exactly are we doing our project on? Well, that was what I was hoping we could decide on. Today, I mean. Might give us a head start for tomorrow. Do you have any idea where we'd start? I'm all for jumping on this, don't get me wrong. I'm just not gonna be a whole lot of help. I'm not much for watching things that'll kill my vibe. Yeah, I don't avoid news to that degree, but I will admit, I can't remember much from last year. I look over at Leigh, the others joining me as well, but he only gives us a shake of his head. Well, there's all the shootings. There's an easy topic. I don't know about that one, bro. Yeah, that's a little too morbid for me. With kids, it's just too sad. Yeah, makes sense. Well, for more local stuff, there's those German tourist twins who drowned in the lake outside the city. That mother of 3 who died in that big pileup on the highway. The Lawson girl's murder-suicide. That massive scandal where that rich guy, Gregory something, was found to be abusing his wife and kids. Something in there catches my attention, and I straighten up my posture. That's rather dark. You sure know a lot about this. My parents made me watch the news every night while I lived with them and whenever I visited. These are just the more memorable ones from the summer break. Sorry, but what's this about a Lawson girl? You don't know, man? Even I know about this one. Yeah, it was pretty big. I shake my head. I'm not familiar either. So a student who was going here for a while suddenly just killed a bunch of her friends. After she got arrested, she killed herself in jail before the night was over. I think I even ran into the guy who died at some point. He was on the football team, but he used the gym here instead of the one near the football field. Yeah, it was my sophomore year here. It was all over the news. My apartment building got locked down and everyone was questioned. Apparently she lived there. Your apartment? Yeah, Unipledge. It's a bit up from the campus on Lord Road. Oh, that's where I'm staying! Really? We must have missed each other. I bolted home as soon as I cleaned up. So, she was staying at Unipledge. That definitely makes me feel uneasy. One coincidence was enough, but 2 is definitely suspicious. Was her name Helena Lawson by any chance? Yeah. Did you know her? I think she lived in my room. I found her diary there. Ears across the table perk up at that. Everyone but Leigh is leaning forward with more interest now. The possum just looks more confused at all the excitement. Seriously? The police would have taken it, right? For evidence? Where was it? It was hidden under the nightstand. I guess I didn't check under the bottom drawer. How did you find it under the bottom drawer? His eyes keep flickering between me and the others, likely still confused at their enthusiasm, but he's at least joining the conversation again. I went to put my stuff in it and it got stuck. I ended up pulling the whole thing out by accident. Wrecking property on the first day? Maybe you belong in a frat. I can try and pull some strings to get you into mine. The look on his face is full of amusement, and that big grin is back on his face. It's very out of place for this morbid topic, but I think he's just a natural smiler. I didn't break anything. It went back in fine. But I did find her diary. Do you have it on you? Right now, I mean. No, it's on my desk in my apartment. I didn't think I'd need it. Oh no, don't feel bad. I didn't mean to make you feel bad. I just thought it'll be cool if you did. Bring it on Wednesday. Seems like the perfect topic for us. When the police want it? I don't want to spoil you kids' fun, but isn't that evidence in a murder? Aren't you a freshman? I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, not that I dislike a nickname. I can call you Smiley if you want instead. The kids was more for them anyway. Leigh gestures towards Lucas and myself. The fox ignores him and gives a reply to his initial question. They shut the case. They found a motive and all the information they needed, and with her dead, there wasn't much need to collect more. That's a fairly cold way to talk about it. What? That she's dead? She killed 3 people? Hard to have sympathy for her. I'd be more likely to sympathize with the dumpster behind my apartment. This seems like a pretty silly thing to be getting into an argument over. How about we rest up on this? Looks like we got an idea down, and we even got a first-hand account from from someone involved. There's a gloomy look at her and the sadness in her eyes. I understand Lucas having no sympathy for her, but she was a person too, wasn't she? Aw, I was hoping things could go longer. I didn't really hang out much. Well, I did plan for us to get some food afterwards. That offer is still on the table if you guys want it. Hell yeah, we're all in. Let's go. Wait, meathead. You don't get to decide for all of us. Well, are there any objections from the crowd? Oscar doesn't seem to be willing to wait, though. He's already getting up and stretching, which makes me conscious at how long I've been sitting down for too. Fine by me. I got a few hours before my sister will be home from school. Oscar is looking at me expectantly. His deep blue eyes stand out on his brown fur. They're shimmering with so much excitement, it's infectious. Yeah, sure, I think that'll be fun, right? We all look towards Lucas. He's fidgeting with his ears nervously, and I can see Lily giggling next to him. She's definitely reveling in the show. Fine, sure, whatever, just nowhere too busy, please. His voice cracks at the end, a blush beginning to seep through his fur again. Our eyes meet, and he quickly looks away towards the mall, a pat on his face. It's so silly and adorable. I wouldn't be able to stop myself from smiling even if I wanted to. Yeah, don't worry. I know a cute little place we can go to. Come on, come on. He looks like he's about to drag the rest of us out, so I quickly slip out from my chair as well. Lucas and Lily take a few more seconds to follow. I'm feeling a little unsure about leaving the topic of the diary so soon. There's still stuff I wanted to talk about, but it doesn't seem like the time for it anymore. I shouldn't stress. There's no rush. We can talk about it in class tomorrow. Falling onto my bed, I can't help but let out a long sigh. A happy sigh. My fur is still pretty damp from the shower, but I feel so enveloped in warmth that it doesn't matter for the moment. Cool air blows through my open window, and the draft feels both soothing and uncomfortable. The chill wind feels like icy fingers running along my arms and neck. I get up and close it before another gush blows in. My pajamas aren't cozy enough to outweigh my wet fur. On my way back to my bed, however, something catches my attention out of the corner of my eye. On the desk is the purple book I threw there last night. A curiosity wells within me again. I'll need to bring it for tomorrow anyway, and we're likely doing our project on it too, so it'll be in all our best interest for me to read it. Right? The fact that I'm even having to find an excuse to read it makes the guilt in my stomach grow larger. This is someone's private property, and I shouldn't read it without permission, but... Before I know it, though, I'm right next to the chair in front of the desk. I guess it couldn't hurt to get a bit of a heads up on what we're going to be working on. For my own sake and theirs. Here goes nothing. Sitting down on the desk chair, I'm struck by how uncomfortable it is. The cushion is such a thin layer, and the tail hole isn't positioned properly. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised considering this is student lodging, but I'll push that aside for now and focus on the diary in front of me. Holding the cover in my fingers, the reality of what this book is dawns on me. This is the diary of a girl who killed 3 people and then herself. A murderer's diary. What would I even find in there? Sick thoughts of wanting to hurt people? A motive? Maybe it'll be completely normal? Honestly, that might actually be worse. Bing! I'm knocked out of my stupor by a text message on my phone. It's from Lily. We all exchanged our numbers during lunch. Yo, just wanted to remind you to bring the diary tomorrow. We will need it. I will. I just wanted to give it a bit of a read now. Cool. Let me know how it is. Later. Honestly, it's kind of scary. It's a diary from a dead girl who killed a bunch of people. Makes me feel kind of sick. Aw, sorry. If you're not feeling it, we can read it together tomorrow. Might be easier then, right? No, I'll be fine. I just need to remember it's just a book. Okay, but feel free to text me or give me a call if you need someone, though. I will. Thank you. Today was really fun. Hey! You know it. So we should hang as a group more. I know Ozzy will want to. I know Ozzy will want to. I can't help but chuckle. Lily's really nice and gets along great with everyone. Talking to her is comforting. Even Lucas doesn't really lash out at her as much as the others. If you could convince Lucas and Leigh to come as well, I'd love to join. I'll chat to him. It's 9 already, so I'm gonna head to bed. Night. Good night. I'll see you at class tomorrow. Feeling a little better, I slip the phone into my pocket. I know if I keep it out, I'm just gonna feel like distracting myself. With everything out of the way, I bring my focus back to the journal. It's a little less scary now, but it's definitely eerie. Putting those thoughts out of my mind, I open the cover. I'm greeted by a familiar message on the inside of the front cover. Property of Helen Lawson. Please call 202-555-0106 to return. I'm almost tempted to try calling again, even though I know the number isn't active anymore. Moving on to the next page, it's surprisingly simple. Just a normal sheet of paper with writing on it. No doodles, no little cute stickers, no other random accessories. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what people put in their diaries. Putting that aside, I finally get around to reading. Hey, or is it Dear Diary? Do people actually do that? Well, I guess I should really be writing Dear Mom, since I know you're going to be reading this. It's the only reason I'm writing this after all. Guess this diary wasn't her idea. Explains why it was so new. It's my first day moving in. Not really much to say. You haven't met my roommate. I guess she isn't moving in today. The room is nice, if a little small. There isn't much space for my clothes, though. Hopefully I can meet my roommate soon. I hope we can get along. None of these entries are dated at all. That makes things a bit awkward trying to figure out when each of these take place, but I guess I have to make do. Still feels extremely uncomfortable reading from the perspective of a murderer, especially one as normal sounding as this. So, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but my roommate is totally cool. She's got her own car, and it's pink. Can you believe it? We hit it off really well, too. Her name is Quinn, and she's an Arctic fox. Mercy even likes her, so that has to be a good sign. Can't wait to start school next week. Mercy chose some of the same classes as me for our general classes so we can hang out and help each other. I know it's going to be a great year. Even though it's only the second entry, I feel very heavy all of a sudden. It's almost painful to read. How did someone who seemed so happy and surrounded by people who liked her turn out so bad? What happened exactly? Wanting more answers, I grab my laptop off my bed and place it next to the book. I'm not going to dive too deep into the details. I just want to check out a few things. It doesn't take me too long to find what I'm looking for. They were right. This was big. There were 3 victims and herself who died that day. 19-year-old Arctic fox Quinn Willow, who was her roommate. 18-year-old mouse Mercedes Hills, apparently her best friend according to her parents. 21-year-old badger Conrad Hughes, her boyfriend. And lastly, 19-year-old leopard Helena Lawson. Her motive for killing them is that Conrad had been cheating on her with both Quinn and Mercedes. She flew in a rage and killed all of them. When policemen arrested Helena, she was apparently not responding to any kind of questioning, completely non-responsive. And placed in her cell for the night, she killed herself by clawing her own throat out. Still processing that information, I just sit back in my chair and stare at the ceiling. Did she really kill them for that? She seems so nice, though. I know I don't know her at all, but I just can't see her doing that. There's something there that does catch my attention. Conrad Hughes. I haven't seen an entry on him yet. Picking up the book, I read the rest of the entries on the page. Most are just about her buying books in preparation for classes and going out with Quinn and Mercedes. The next few pages are very similar, just her explaining how her days have been going, only bits and pieces being really worth noting. She seems really enthusiastic about starting college. She's even taking 5 classes. I mean, I know that's not super abnormal, but I only took 4 for my first semester. All her entries are addressed to her mother, too. They seem to have a pretty close relationship. No mention of her father yet, though. The final entry on the 5th page shows something worth noting, however. Mom, listen to this! Quinn is making me meet up with someone, and I have a pretty good idea of what this is about. She was always mentioning how her business management class is right next to the football field, and she's gotten a bit close with a lot of them. I think she's going to set me up with a hottie. Don't worry, I'll keep you informed. Here in this diary where you can't sabotage it. He's going to be a total hunk, I know it, so I'm not going to let you be a prude. I'm guessing that's Conrad. Oscar mentioned the guy who died was on the football team. Alright guys, I'm going to pause it right there. Been a new episode of Leigh's Path from Violent Memoir. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!